Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of C-Ptsd with Pop Woodman. Apologize for my scruffy look. Shaved my beard off for my surgery that I had almost a month ago now. So I'm going to be scruffy for a little while I get back my Santa Claus look. What I wanted to talk about today is some of the resources that I've been using as I'm learning more about C-Ptsd, and a couple of the books I'm reading or have read, and a website where you can access the ACEs quiz or test, whatever you want to call it. But the reality is I'm still in the very early learning phases of this myself. Learning about what it's like to have complex PTSD and the symptoms of it and how to work on those symptoms, treat those symptoms, if you will. And as I've said before, my initial introduction to this was when I was going to Mayo Clinic trying to resolve some neurological issues and a whole bunch of other things, health issues, and it was decided before I could take care of any of the physical issues that were plaguing me, neurologically speaking, I needed to have bariatric surgery and lose a significant amount of weight before they would be able to start working on my spine and my hip and my knees and my arm and a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, through that, once they moved me on to looking into the bariatric surgery, I had a meeting with a therapist, and part of her examining me, if you will, was to go through the ACEs questionnaire. And she didn't tell me that's what she was doing at the time, but she was asking me questions and I was responding. And when she was done, she says, "Well, you certainly do have PTSD," is how she worded it. Didn't understand anything about complex PTSD at that moment, but on the questionnaire, there's 10 questions. It's a simple questionnaire. It looks like this. I printed this off of a website, and the website is acesaware.org. It's all lowercase letters, acesaware.org. You can print off a copy yourself and read the questions and check off whether you have experienced any of the things on the questionnaire. And what it is, it's the Adverse Childhood Experience Questionnaire for Adults. That's what you'll find there. And it asks you all the questions about your childhood, the things you experienced or didn't experience, and so on. And there's 10 questions. I answered yes to 8 out of 10. And so it wasn't, now that I know that, I was not surprised at all that she said, "You definitely have PTSD," which led me to looking further into it and trying to get more information on what I can do to deal with or cope with this complex PTSD that I've been dealing with for my entire life. 60 years old and just beginning to work through the process of overcoming some of this stuff and healing some of this stuff. So if you're interested in finding out if you may have complex PTSD, you can go download your questionnaire, answer it yourself, and see how many you check off. And then I would recommend, if you do believe that you have complex PTSD, that you would reach out and make an appointment with a therapist to get better evaluated, fully evaluated, and find out where to go from there. Because I certainly cannot diagnose you, wouldn't even begin to imagine to do so. So please go ahead and do that. All right, I want to share a couple of books with you. The first one is Re-Regulated by Anna Runkle. Anna Runkle. It's ANNARUNKLE. And her book is called Re-Regulated. And what she deals with in that book is something that people with complex PTSD really need to deal with, and that is neurological dysregulation. When we have those times where we fly off the handle for apparently no reason as far as people would think, well, things like that means we're neurologically dysregulated at the moment. Our mind is reacting literally in a fight or flight mindset. And this is something that is ingrained from childhood on, that this is how we respond to certain things. I'll go into more detail on that at another point. But her whole book is on getting re-regulated, how to bring these reactions under control and live a better, happier, fuller life because of it. It's a really good book. I've already read it. I'm doing some of the practices that I've found in it and so on, and it's being helpful to me. The second book, and she mentions this a lot on her podcast as well, it's a book that has really helped her, and it is called Complex PTSD, From Surviving to Thriving, by Pete Walker. It's a book that goes into great detail about many aspects of complex PTSD, and you learn a lot about why you do the things you do or don't do the things you should do, and so on. Both of these authors, Anna Runkle and Peter Walker, are both people who came up through very traumatic childhoods and have complex PTSD, and they have written these books to help others dealing with complex PTSD to find some health, some healing, some growth, and they're two great resources, and I would encourage you to look into both of these books. I wanted to come on here and do episode 7 because I've been out of pocket for a couple of weeks because of my surgery and recovery and so on. And so that's really the whole episode this time, is just sharing the ACEs questionnaire, Anna's book, Re-Regulated, and Pete Walker's book, Complex PTSD, From Surviving to Thriving. And I love the title of that book because most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, those of us with complex PTSD, we've just been surviving up until this point when we've discovered we have it, and now we're starting to deal with it. And I know I want to go from surviving to thriving, and I imagine you would too. So take a look at these 3 things, see if you can find some help there, and be pointed in a good direction to help you go from surviving to thriving. Lord willing, I'll be back again next week with another episode of Complex PTSD with Pop Whitman. God bless and have a great weekend.